Hi, Joanna. This is Ellen. I'll be correcting these essays. Let's take a look at what you did here in your first set. Okay, so we've got schools, if they should be more entertaining. Let's see what you wrote. Given the rise of computers and technology, there has been a shift in the traditional teaching models adopted by educational institutions. I believe that schools nowadays are exploring more creative ways to engage their students and aid their learning styles both inside and out of the classroom. This essay will analyze both traditional and new ways of learning by using examples from UNESCO and Cambridge universities to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, the grammar and the language of this introduction are very good. All right, I really like all of it. I might have changed this to both inside and outside the classroom instead of out of, but that's such a minor detail. It's not even worth mentioning. So, like I said, the language is really good. Now, let me tell you where I think you could have done a little more here in this sentence, okay? Essentially, I don't feel like this is a really faithful rephrasing of the topic. So let me put it to you this way. When I read your introduction, I should be able, ideally, I should be able to more or less understand exactly what the question is based on your introduction. Now, based on this introduction, I can't do that, okay? So you're telling me there's a shift in models. Okay, great, in teaching models, fine. And then you talk about more creative ways to engage. There's absolutely nothing about entertainment. There's nothing about amusement. There's nothing about this. And so there are a couple of things happening. Like I said, it's not entirely clear. And when you say that you're going to analyze both traditional ways, and there was nothing about entertainment here. So I'm left thinking, well, maybe Joanna is not going to write about amusement. Maybe she's just going to talk about, um, engaging learning. Okay. But that's not necessarily what entertaining means. Okay. Fun, amusement, enjoyment in the classroom. Just because something is engaging, it doesn't mean that it is also these things that I just said. Okay. So I need you to more faithfully refer to the question. All right. And I can see here that you've got the language to do that. So let's continue. Okay. Right. And then one other thing that I want to say about that is, which do you agree with? Okay, that's what it asks you. And you say, I believe that schools nowadays are exploring more creative ways. Again, not what they asked you. Okay, so here you have to be very careful because this sentence is really, really important to your essay. So it's not even that you didn't mention entertainment, but even the way you phrased it, I believe they are exploring. That's not what they're saying. Do you think that they should be more entertaining? Like, what do you think they should do? It's not what they are doing, but if they should be doing more, okay? All right, so we talked a ton about your introduction. Let's move on. Okay, yes, educational systems should incorporate more interactive and easy to digest material in their curriculum. This is due to the percentages of children that have grown up with the internet. This is due to the percentages of children that have grown up with the internet. No, you've got a mistake here grammatically. This is due to the, no, grammatically this doesn't work. This is due to the fact that percentages of children that have grown up with the internet have increased significantly over the past 7 years. For example, UNESCO published a survey that said 20% of schools, not who, which are using media-rich content like videos and online games, are reported to have a rise in their student learning and satisfaction rates. Therefore, it is compulsory for schools to introduce more online and game learning methods as it's not one method, right? It's two methods. as they help with students' ability to absorb, process, engage with the information. Okay. So first of all, let me go back to your first sentence. I really would recommend not to begin your paragraph with yes. Okay, so just get rid of it and just start with this sentence. Now, I liked the paragraph from here on. I felt like you were talking about entertainment, you're talking about videos, you're talking about online games and all of this information. That's fine. But again, here, you're talking about interactive and easy to digest. There's nothing about fun. There's nothing about entertainment, okay? So it's really important to incorporate this because what IELTS is really doing, if you think about it, is they're kind of indirectly checking your vocabulary. So they're checking your understanding of this word here, okay? So what does entertaining mean? And so while you were on the right track with all of this that I've highlighted, you needed to incorporate this understanding of this word: fun, amusement, entertaining, all of this, like joyful even, which, okay, but something like that, so that you can show us that, yeah, this is about having more fun at school. Okay. All right. So on the other hand, traditional and formal ways of learning aid students in achieving their desired grades. This is because, you don't need a comma here, structured-based learnings like assignments and examinations are an indicator of students' S apostrophe here overall performance, in addition to being used as a tactic to improve their progress. For example, schools that have adopted a British way of learning, you don't need a comma again, have an international qualification system known as Cambridge This, that helps students get accredited with their scores when they apply for further studies. Therefore, it is equally important to have formal ways of education as they help children advance in their academic path. Because you said formal ways, okay? All right, so let's go back to your introduction. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's go to your conclusion. To conclude from the examples and arguments given, comma, I firmly believe that schools should stick to the formal ways of teaching, but simultaneously introduce more interactive and engaging multimedia content to get a more active and engaged student base in the classroom. In the future, it is predicted that schools will fully switch to a more media-rich method of teaching. Okay, I really like your conclusion. And in fact, this is what I wanted to see in your introduction. Like here, where is it? This sentence here is what you needed to replicate in your introduction, okay? And you didn't. So one of the things that I want you to think about is the band descriptors. And if you haven't seen them, definitely look them up online. They're everywhere. So the task 2 band descriptors, if you look at band 7 under task achievement, it says presents a clear position throughout the response. The key word there is throughout, which, as you probably know, means from the beginning to the end. Okay, so for that to happen, what you wrote here in a really clear way should have been present from your introduction. Okay, so now going back to your introduction, remember I told you that this sentence for me was really problematic. This is what I thought you needed to rewrite. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Now, the good news is, Joanna, is that your language level is really very high. It's lovely. It's easy to read. Okay, yeah, there are some mistakes here and there. They're really not a lot. And I would have to say that the majority of your sentences are error-free and really well written. Okay, just some little things here and there that you need to work on in terms of grammar. I wouldn't even say Lexis. I think your vocabulary was pretty precise, actually. So no issues there. If anything, it was just little grammatical things, little punctuation things. Let's see. So yeah, for me, definitely the grammar is the strong part, and the vocabulary. The vocabulary, I would have to say, are the strong parts of this essay. What needs a little work is the task achievement, okay, which is why I've spent so much time on it. But it's your first set. Everything else I think you did really well. So why don't we take a look now at your second question about an enjoyable activity with a child? Let's see what we said here. A child never stops learning, and it is the duty and obligations for both. It is the duty and obligation of both teachers and parents to ensure children's learning and development capabilities are fully utilized. I believe that a range of activities that are designed to not only educate but also entertain the child is required, and this essay will confirm the importance of having both approaches and the reported benefits they bring. Okay, lovely. Really, really nice. I like this first sentence, a child never stops learning. That's a nice kind of, it's, it draws your attention. Okay, so that's really great. Can you guess what I'm going to tell you, though, is the problem? Maybe you can. The problem is that there's nothing about reading. There's nothing about reading, and that's what this essay is about. Okay, an enjoyable activity, yes, but there is a comparison here about what's better, the activity or reading, if we're talking about skills development. And there is absolutely zero reference to reading here. And so as an examiner, you're going to look at this and you're going to think, gee, is this even going to be on topic? Like, is this going to talk about how parents and teachers have to ensure children's learning? What about the comparison to reading? Okay, so it feels like from your introduction that this might be tangential, it might be off topic, or some of it might be off topic. Okay, so you really have to watch out for this because the introduction could potentially be a red flag for an examiner, and the examiner's going to think, okay, well, I have to watch for this. I'm kind of on my guard now to see if this candidate is going to answer the question appropriately. Okay, all right, so let's move on. Firstly, when parents and teachers engage children in playtime activities, not only are they developing the children's cognitive skills, it is stated that their physical and emotional needs are also being met. I love that you've used inversion here. That makes me so happy. Great. This is because when a child is encouraged to interact with their environment, they develop their body awareness, gain dexterity, and build up their problem-solving ability as they continue to explore their surroundings. For example, according to the Parent Research Centre in Australia, they found that 30% of kindergarten-aged children have reported an increase in their problem-solving ability after being stimulated with an engaging playtime session. Therefore, it is important to engage children with recreational activities to further their development. All right, great. This is lovely. You talked about the skills. You talked about why skills are important. You talked about activities are important in the development of skills. So this is a really, really, really nicely written paragraph. Okay, let's go here now. Secondly, the act of reading has been known to set up children for academic success once they enter primary school and throughout their later years. This is because when a child engages in reading time or is regularly being read to, they master the concentration skills needed to interpret and absorb the information. For example, a study conducted by Australia's Alliance Group for Healthy Families and Communities confirmed that reading to young children, or when a child reads on their own, they develop the necessary cognitive skills to think outside of the box, gain confidence in their ability to communicate, and remember information that they have read. Therefore, it is equally important for the child to develop good reading habits when they are young. That's a beautiful paragraph as well. That is so nice. Okay, really, really, really good job here. So, all right, why don't I get to your conclusion, and then we'll talk about how to pull all of this together. Okay. So, to conclude from the examples and arguments given, comma, I firmly believe that parents and teachers should introduce a variety of activities that utilizes, a variety of activities that utilize. Yeah, it's supposed to be utilized here. A child's cognitive ability and get them involved in equal amounts of reading and playtime. It is predicted that by adopting this approach, a child will not only possess good reading habits, but also learn use their imagination and creativity to problem solve and make informed decisions as they grow older. All right, that's beautiful. I like it. So what I'm going to tell you again is that here you had a very clear position statement, okay? But just like in your previous essay, you need to include it here, okay? So there was nothing about reading in the introduction, as we've already stated. And that was the problem. So you needed to kind of rephrase that statement that you had in your conclusion, also put it in your introduction, okay? With different wording, of course, but that's essentially what you need to do, okay? So that's the end of this set. You're definitely off to a very good start because, again, your language level is excellent. I really enjoyed the second essay. It was just the issue of making your introduction clearer and just making the whole text feel more cohesive, more unified, okay? And if you can improve your introductions, I think you're going to be off to a great start, okay? So go ahead and correct these essays, all right? Create an error correction list if you haven't already done so, where you write the mistake and the next to the mistake what the corrected version would be. There wasn't really much in terms of grammar and vocabulary. It was other things that we talked about primarily. But add to that list every time you get an essay back from us. And of course, write a new set of essays, okay? So get all these three things together, send them back to us when you're ready, and we'll move from there, okay? Great first set, and good luck.